Beneath the Manitoba sky, an age-old vessel rows relentlessly towards the land north of summer. This is a fur trade York boat on its way to Hudson Bay. Day 19, and the crew of 7 men and 1 woman have reached the Cree town of Norway House. 200 years ago, York boats were common here.
I'm here, pretty good, happy. Happy. It's quite a big deal for me, big deal. I'm stoked, again. It just won't go away.
Today's festival honors the crew for attempting what no living human has done, taking a York boat 1,200 kilometers from Winnipeg to Hudson Bay on one of Canada's great fur trade routes.
The amazing welcome that we received in Norway House. They rolled out the red carpet for us. There were a few hundred people there waiting at the fort to greet us. We had lunch with the village elders and heard from them. They prayed for us.
Amen.
The village elders treat the Yorkmen as respected guests. Memories run deep here. Only 3 generations ago, men of different races turned fur into gold. Sometimes at a terrible cost. Many of those fur traders lie in lonely graveyards like this: MacDonald and Osborne, Mowat and Bear. Names from a time when men made their mark by reading weather and running white water. On this summer's evening, 3 New Age Yorkmen pay their respects. There are no lessons to be learned in this field of the dead, just a warning to be heard. A Yorkman's life is short and dangerous. Beware. When they leave Norway House, they'll travel the Nelson River to their first portage at Sea River Falls. Once they cross it, they'll face the beaver dams and swamps of the Echimamish River. Then, the real test on this leg of the journey: dragging the 1-ton boat through a kilometer of thick bush at the Robinson Portage. Three weeks into the quest, and so far, it's gone well. But the crew is about to face a new set of challenges as the river turns to stone. Ahead lie the portages. In 1840, the Yorkmen might have run this channel, not this crew. They'll portage it. This will mean pulling the boat across the rock to the next water's edge. First, the 4 tons of cargo must be moved.
It's not that it's too heavy. If you get it balanced, it's really easy to carry. It's just the boots are really slippery. So you have to watch your footing. Be very careful, because I'd hate to fall with one of those on my back. That would hurt.
We are in the process of uncoiling 600 feet of 3/4 inch manila rope, and it has a set of blocks on both sides, whereby we will achieve 4 times the pulling power of, let's say, manually just grabbing a hold of it. So for every 100 feet that we're going to drag it, we have to pull about 400 feet of rope. So based on this portage, we're looking at setting it up possibly twice in order to drag it across the rock, up this little hill and down to the other side.
Use your legs to do the pulling. So you squat and you pull with your legs.
The York boat team are both ordinary and extraordinary. In search of a common history, they're attempting a heroic quest. Inch by inch, curse by curse, they struggle to move the York boat from water to rock, from present to past.
Doing good. It's on top of that one.
Never before have they faced toil like this, and it will only get worse.
We had a rough portage Sunday at the Sea Falls, and got our first taste of a portage, and it was, needless to say, it was ugly.
No!
24 hours later, the boat has moved 40 meters. The joy they felt at Norway House is gone, replaced by the grinding hard work of the portage. 19th century crews often traveled in brigades. 10 or 15 men might have lowered a York boat down a slope like this. There are only 8 on this crew. Maritz Lunenberg knows his way around boats. He has the fiery spirit of a man who won't back down from a challenge.
Hang on, Paul's not ready.
This thing's gonna have to be really tight.
Paul Gosson comes from Mennonite pioneers. He's wiry and strong and tackles tough jobs with humor.
Just stay away with that camera, you know.
Let's go. Come on.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
1, 2, 3.
2, 3. Go, Bob. Go. Okay, stop. Get it on. That's it, guys. That's it. Good job. Yeah. Woo!
So, Maris, what did you learn about portaging?
It's portaging is an ugly, brutal
Wherever
business.
possible, avoid it.
Yeah.
We also learned that she takes a beating on the portages.
This first portage has not gone well. The boat has been damaged, and they're still not working as a team. They must get wiser, fast. 33 more portages lie ahead. "500 kilometers north of Winnipeg, the York boat has reached the Echimamish River.
Paul,
Yes.
what do we know about this river and the fur trade?
Well, we know that this river is the most important part of the whole journey because without it, we'd have to take a secondary route that would be more dangerous. The Echimamish allows you to go from the lake and the Nelson to the Hayes.
Much of Canada's early history took place here. It is a fur trapper's paradise. This year, the water levels are high, the swamps passable.
Deep enough, we'd make it through that.
2 centuries ago, about 80 York boats a year came this way. The land has changed little since then. The return of this York boat as natural as the return of spring after the long winter.
We are, I'd say about 10K into the Echimamish, and we're at Harry Lake, just about halfway through. And we're looking forward to the next couple of days of being on the river, rowing the York boat, and seeing what we can do at the beaver dams, and hopefully getting over those with ease. That'll probably be our next big challenge is the beaver dams. You know, rumor has it there's been 25 in last year, and the water is quite high, so hopefully that will eliminate some of them. But we never know, and we'll have to find out tomorrow.
For the fur trade crews, the beavers and their fur were a blessing. For this crew, The beavers and their dams are a curse. Somehow, they must get past them.
Never. There will be no apologies to beaver lovers.
We will have this fixed in a day.
No.
One, two, three, push and pull!
Push and pull, stress and strain. Bit by bit, the York boat is levered over the dam.
Well, I think this area would have been completely trapped out, and I don't think there'd have been any beaver dams along here. 80 York boats a year going through here. They wouldn't have left anything standing in the way of beaver dams.
In Isaac's book, is there any reference to beaver dams? Jeff?
I think that said the company had to maintain some of these dams to keep the artificial water level because the beavers had been trapped out.
Jeff Cowie's great-grandfather, Isaac Cowie, traveled here in 1867 and left behind a diary.
The Echimamish is a stream through a great narrow marsh. Only an eyewitness can imagine the exertions of the Orkney men in its navigation. Jumping into the water to lift the boats compelled them to remain the whole day in wet clothes. The dams were the work of beaver. Our crew could not be restrained from slaughtering these engineering animals.
Orkney lads, like Isaac Cowie, were hired by the Hudson's Bay Company because they were, quote, cheaper than the English, less quarrelsome than the Irish. Contracted for 5 years, they were paid £6 a season. Many, like Isaac, met the challenges of this hard land and made it their home.
My interest in following the footsteps of Isaac Cowie, my great-grandfather, because it's really been I think a remarkable opportunity to retrace one of my ancestors' paths and in a sense relive a journey that he took over 130 years ago.
2 days on the Echimamish. There is one last slough to cross. The method is simple.
Almost there!
Row hard, then row harder.
There, keep going, keep going, keep going, right through! Right through, right through!
The third time that's happened.
All right! Did it!
I think I swallowed another bug.
I think I just opened up the scabs in my rear end again.
The humor is a tonic in the face of what lies ahead. Soon, the river will end and the dark forest close around them when they reach the Robinson Portage. Day 25. With the beaver dams of the Echimamish River behind them, the York boat makes good time. Without noticing, they're spending more of their precious luck.
Painted stone.
So yeah, we got through the Echimamish quite fast, and now this painted stone portage, it's a neat place. It feels like a very magical place. Historically, I believe it was a meeting place and a ceremonial place for some of the Aboriginal people in the area. So it feels like there's a different kind of energy here. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's just very calming. It's very nice.
Tell me the story of this portage here. Why is it called Painted Stone, and what is the history here?
Well, as far as I understand, there used to be a Manitou or a stone altar of some kind that the local Aboriginal people worshipped at.
And I read too about an altar where the Cree rowers would make offerings, give thanks.
Mm-hmm. And that altar was ultimately destroyed by some of the white traders because the Aboriginal people who moved through here in the employ of the HBC would worship at the site for several days, and that was kind of preventing the easy flow of commerce according to the traders at the time.
There it goes, guys.
For 19th century Yorkmen, time was money. Christianity and commerce drove them forward with a ruthless determination.
There we go. Hang on. There he comes. Hang on.
Oh my god.
That's another fucking floorboard.
That side too crushed? That was my suspicion. Holy.
You hit the end of the
Both sides. Where the rail ends? Right through the boat.
Both sides?
This is not a sinking of Bob. This is the wrecking of Bob.
This group of Yorkmen call their boat Bob, beautiful old boat. And right now, Bob is hurt. The pine rollers have punctured his midsection.
Oh, right there.
That means we broke the rib too.
The rail works really well for skidding the boat, but it's also very dangerous for the boat, as we're finding out.
Once again, it's Maritz Lunenberg who will supervise the job of fixing the York boat.
Good. Yeah, the punctures have been fixed up thanks to Merritt's ingenuity, and we've got the roller system working fairly well here, so it's just a matter of not puncturing the hull again in the remaining 10 yards, and we'll be off.
In less than a day, the boat is relaunched. They have achieved another small victory. The past is a foreign land. The crew of Yorkmen are strangers here, yet they are adapting. 4 weeks into the quest, their bodies have grown strong, and they're anxious to make a mark as Yorkmen. Soon, they'll get their chance. This is Robinson Falls. The great explorer Sir John Franklin was swept down this channel in 1819. He barely survived. The Robinson Portage is where Yorkmen come of age.
So you know this portage, right, Paul?
You bet.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's long. It's 1,350 meters. And so that means each time you bring a pack over, you're just doing under 3 kilometers. So we're gonna have to be very efficient with how we carry things. And that means Bob is gonna go just over 1 kilometer.
How does it look?
There's a few down trees, but it seems to be a lot of good rollers, like we definitely cut.
Fairly wide. Seems to be fairly wide, at least
swallow a
as
bug?
far as we got. A little bit wet in some spots. And way too many bugs to go walking at night.
Did you go to the end?
No.
We only made it, I don't know, 50 yards.
Bugs drove you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, for now.
Lord, we thank you for your presence with us and for all your bountiful blessing, for your majestic creation, and for this food that you've provided for us. We just ask you to bless it to our bodies and continue to protect us in our boat. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Day 29. The wild harvest from the Manitoba summer brightens their morning and sweetens their oatmeal. It is a good start.
Oh, Randall, you got the color that's just big spot there, eh?
You want to take Bob today? I do.
before we scatter off taking all the gear and that sort of thing. I think there's still lots of things that need to be done, like who's going to cook for us?
Cook. We need two unloaders and then carriers.
No, but you think the portage is just hard work, but quite doable?
Yeah, I think it's just a whole bunch of work, and like there's no danger involved really. Like it's just work, elbow grease, yeah, that's all.
This used to be the point of honor portage for the novices. They would have to take their load of 200 pounds at a trot to the other side, come back until they completed carrying their share of their load, which was 1,200 pounds.
I have retraced Isaac's steps. He took the oars. I have taken the oars. It comes full circle. Weird, eh?
So where did the wheel come from?
Well, we think it's from the old tramway that would have been here. From my understanding, sometime in the 1800s. I'm not sure exactly when, but...
At the end of the trail, a remarkable find. A 200-year-old set of wheels. Many York boats once passed this way, and a small railway was built to move the cargo. Maritz Lunenburg has a plan. Use the wheels to build a cart and roll Bob through the bush.
Like this, bang, okay? This becomes the extra bushing. This thing stays in here, this thing rides on there, it can rock. And then on the top, we'll make two flat mating surfaces which we can lash together. Yeah. And in the back here, same thing, I guess, so that it can rock a bit.
It's got a bit of a wow in it. Huge team effort over the last couple of days. Today we just finished getting all the rails. This is a patented Yorkman's rail right here. 45 feet long, nice pine. Doesn't have any knobs on it. And then we've got these lashed on cross poles, and they're going to become the base for the crib which Schmaditz designed for the boat. And everybody else worked on this beautiful sort of wheelbarrow structure that we're going to put on the bow of the boat. Took all 8 of us to figure that one out, and hopefully it'll work.
It's taken 2 days to build the cart, and Bob is still not out of the water. The Robinson Portage was notorious for the toll it took in human lives. Broken bones and perforated hernia were common. Many died from the strain of the work and were buried in unmarked graves.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good. That's good.
19th century travelers feared this portage. They felt the spirits of the dead lingered.
What the hell's going on here?
Everybody all right?
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
Anybody get hit? That broke like right here. Bob like saved my life. All of a sudden out of the nowhere, I almost got killed by a falling tree, and if you can believe it, Bob saved my life. You think about how you can be killed in life, and think about rapids and bears mauling you, or just dying in traffic by a tree. It's pretty pathetic, but you know, you don't have too many life or death experiences in your life, and this was one of them. And it's good that the boat played a part. Maybe it'll draw me a little closer when we go through the rapids.
It is their 4th day at the Robinson Portage. The York boat has moved 300 meters. 1,000 more lie ahead.
Try the carriage off the axle.
The cart is not working. Building it, a waste of time. Their frustration grows.
The whole thing's coming off, the whole, except for that front shitteroo.
We're finding that the wheels are not turning evenly. It's wanting to go to the left every time, so we're just taking the wheels out right now, out of the carriage, and it's just going to skid along the logs.
Oh, that's it. Enough.
No, I want to talk about it for 3 more hours.
No, I don't want to fucking talk anymore. I'm done talking.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
No living human has faced a task like this. It is the definition of toil.
Lunchtime!
There's tons of onion.
Thank you.
So how's the cart working? The wheels we brought back?
Well, the wheels have been thrown back to the 1840s. They didn't work. They were hindering our progress rather than helping.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
The cart looked good though.
It looked good, but it lacked something, yeah. So we're back to just the old roller and rail method.
Seems to be things aren't going as well as they were yesterday. Could be a lot of things that are accounting for that. But
We've been here 4 days, and we got to think of the length of our trip that we're undertaking. We got to get out of here, and we need to experiment with ways of increasing our speed on this thing. So
I thought we made decent progress today, and I would hate to change things around.
It's tempting to try and reinvent the wheel frequently, but every time we do that, there's a lot of downtime while we change things around.
I'm all for changing to a new way of doing things, but don't discount the realities that are there. Like
Randall had a good idea that maybe we set another set of rails underneath the carriage that we have, and then use that as the basis to keep Bob from rolling, and then just put rollers between it and rails.
if you're gonna say go for rollers, let's all talk about the positive and negatives. I just don't want you focusing on the positives of rollers without forgetting that you need 2 extra guys to hold it up. So
you don't need anything. Bob will sit flat the same way.
What's going to keep those rails from binding on all the crap that's on the portage?
You're actually 16-inch higher then.
No, but I mean, right now we're hitting. Right now we're hitting.
Right.
The trail, right?
If the spirits of the long-dead Yorkmen were listening to the argument, their response was clear. Crossing this portage will only get worse.
The hardest part is levering that freaking boat around. Oh.
I'm all for the ski idea if it's gonna work. Or, I mean, whether or not it works, I'm into trying it. But we just have to make sure there's no damage, that's all. Because it can't set us back another whole day.
Why don't we get a vote here on what we should do? So who's voting for the skidding idea?
Skidding or rolling?
Or staying the same? We got 3 options here: A, B, or C.
We're also getting a lot more open with each other. I think we're willing to, we're more willing now to give our opinions and to voice our opinions and to, you know, agree or disagree with each other. It feels like it's a lot safer to be able to be a dissenting voice if you feel you need to be. And tensions also get a little more raised. So I think from here on in, the next 3 or 4 weeks are going to be very, very interesting.
They decide to go back to what they know, trees as rollers.
You know, we'll make 10 or 20 feet of progress, and then it's downtime, and then another 10 feet of progress. It just seems to go so slowly.
Yeah, these lulls, I can't get, I wish we could just consistently pull the boat and move the rails, but it keeps on getting jammed on you know, trees because the trail is only so wide. The boat's, you know, 10 feet wide at its widest point with the roller strapped to it. So
What bothers me the most, I think, is the heat. It's really hot today, and muggy, and all these little bugs that you can see swarming around my head. There's no relief from the bugs.
See these things? Can you see these? They're just incessant little bugs.
Frustrated. I'm feeling very frustrated with this. It's taking too long. Yeah, at the rate we're going to be here 7 days, and this is becoming. I mean, I don't mind hard work, but this is stupid work, and that's all I have to say on this.
It seems to be their objective, is just to fly into your eyes for some reason.
Your head there,
I
Ken.
got a bit of a pine tree on my head.
And,
Ken Albert Jr. fights the bugs with an idea an elder showed him.
My face.
Keeps them out of your face?
Yeah. Might look like an idiot, but works.
Look at this though, there's very few in front of my face here.
Yeah.
Come on down. Come on down.
Wet and bug-bitten, their muscles aching, their hands blistered. There is talk of stopping.
I think if we, I don't think we can not work in the rain. You know? I mean, what if it rains like this tomorrow?
No, we don't have that luxury.
I don't think we have that. I mean, I don't think the
This
Yorkman
is not rain, it's kind of a downpour, eh?
The Yorkman would have worked in the rain.
But we're not working Yorkman.
But that's what you're here for.
Well,
I mean, this is
maybe they picked the wrong guys then.
And that'd be like saying we're only going to work when it's sunny out.
Work in times other than sun. I mean, if it's pouring and we're not even moving the boat because things are getting jammed.
I think if people are cold, put on a sweater. You got an extra sweater. That's what I would say.
So would you like to quit?
No, I'll quit when I'm ready to quit.
But you're not ready now?
No, not yet.
That's good.
You'll know.
Personally, I don't see a lot of advantage to having 8 wet, cold people. It's going to drain our energy and our resources quicker than if we take a half a day to sit it out and wait it out. And if it rains for a week, well, I mean, we don't know that. It could be sunny tomorrow, it could be sunny in 2 hours. It might rain for 10 days. I just think if it's pouring,
Which
that you
side
take
do you
care of
want it
yourself.
on?
But group wants to work, I'll keep working till I'm hypothermic.
You mother!
Bob's stuck on something.
Bob, our official word is Bob's stuck.
I'll be back.
After 5 days on the trail, they have barely reached the halfway point. The Robinson Portage has taught them a bitter truth of the Yorkman's life. There can be no turning back, because there is no way out.
Robinson Portage was physically draining, emotionally exhausting, and psychologically, moving 200 paces out of 1,400 paces, in a full day was just, psychologically, you just can't believe it, and it's exhausting. It was definitely a huge, huge challenge.
Day 33, a rare sight. Maritz Lunenburg on the verge of defeat.
There's not a general consensus, but there's a few of us who are starting to feel a little bit miffed by this portage, not so much by the fact that we're doing it, but by the fact that there was a statement made at the initial gathering that the portage would be cleared and there would be logs and rollers available. Well, the portage isn't cleared, the logs and rollers aren't there. Myself and Jeff Cowie and Ken Albert Jr., we're sort of in the opinion that if we want to get this job done, we can't do it with the amount of people we have.
Asking for help, I think, is a smart way to do this. And, this obviously wasn't done by 8 people in the past, and I'm not sure why we're attempting to do it here.
We don't have the trail, we don't have the rollers, we don't have the manpower, and
we've given it a really good shot, and I think it's a smart thing to do to ask for some outside assistance at this point.
It's only going to be so long before we're just going to say, the hell with it, because it's crazy. ruthlessly beating ourselves to a pulp to get this job done.
I noticed Merritt is down by the campsite by himself. He seems a bit frustrated with things.
He has a low frustration tolerance, I think.
Yeah, but you're still feeling that we can do this?
Oh yeah, we're moving it along quite well right now, actually.
Oh, I'm totally happy. I'm happy most of the time. You will probably find that. I may have outward gripes, but I'm generally happy just, you know, to be alive and to be out here doing what we're doing.
Oh, I'm feeling peachy. Yeah, ready to get this boat moving.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Gotta keep going. I mean, we're almost halfway there. Might as well keep pushing. The boat's really moving well right now, and everyone's working hard. And
It is a terrible morning. Under the glare of the hot August sun, they fight for every meter.
Yeah, give me some slack.
Moritz has returned. They need his strength. Without it, crossing the Great Portage will be almost impossible. At lunch, their mood is bleak. Like soldiers at war, their emotions are strained, unpredictable. And another storm is brewing.
Excellent.
In the late afternoon, they reach a small bog, but only half the group is working. Moritz, Jeff, and Ken have stopped. They complain that the television company, Frantic Films, had promised to clear the portage.
Yeah, I think this will work really well.
Others did not remember this promise.
Another discussion time. Read this portage. Read the time scheduling that's left and the possibility of food problems and the fact that we were informed that this trail was going to be cleared and there would be rails and rollers ready for us, and they're not.
Well, I think we should look at it one issue at a time. I mean, can we do the trail or not? I mean,
Well, of course you can if we have a month or another 5 days, or somebody's prepared to get hurt, which is going to happen. It's getting closer and closer every time. We're running out of energy. We're running out of strength.
like, who's ready to quit on the portage with what we have right now?
It's got nothing to do
It's a
with
matter
quitting,
of
Paul.
just calling frantic on it.
Okay, well, when you say calling on them, that means
means
quitting with the power we have and asking other people to go for it,
It's
right?
asking for assistance.
We're asking for assistance on a historical precedent.
Like, this morning, we were ready to suck it up and get it done in 2 days.
Who
you know,
was?
it's a bit of a hot day today, and it's a bit more difficult. And all of a sudden, we're collapsing. I think.
Less than 24 hours ago, we scrapped the skidder, and look how far we've come since we started the rollers. So I'm under the impression that we see how far we're at the end of today, and if we have, you know, like, look how far we've come since.
I don't
this
know
morning.
what the hesitation from the group is in terms of asking for assistance here. I mean, we were led to believe that this would be cleared and ready for us, and I think we've got to wake up and realize we're getting slightly taken advantage of in terms of our goodwill.
Well, I agree with Jeff. I believe we're getting screwed around.
I think that in 2 days, Bob will be back in the water. I like the idea of being able to say that, you know, we did it in, 6 days with just us. It's an accomplishment.
We're having a hard time of it, and things weren't done totally.
We'd have a hard time of it anyway.
I know, just let me
But
finish
why
here,
are we-
Matt, it's okay. I think we're having a hard time. If we were doing this solely on our own, I think we'd continue. But by the fact that somebody said that there was going to be some work done and it isn't, we're ready to just stop. Some of us are ready to just stop because it's difficult. You know?
And yes, we're tired. Everybody's just as tired as everybody else, and hungry and bitchy. and people are, you know, getting discouraged. But it's not impossible.
Okay, well,
If you
let's...
want my opinion, we should suck it up, finish this portage in the next couple of days or so, and complain about it when the trip's over. I'm tired of all this complaining. It's so
useless, man.
negative. We don't need it. We can do it.
Go away.
No, Maritz, I'm saying by the end of today, we're going to know what we've got left. And if it's only 400 paces or 300 paces, we've already done that today. Like, we could do that in one day. We can finish this bloody thing on our own.
After much discussion, the group sides with Maritz and asks that a work crew be flown in.
As a group, we feel that we've been taken advantage of in terms of our goodwill and carrying through on a portage that's not in the condition we were led to believe it would be in. And in return for the fact that we feel we've been taken advantage of, the group is going to ask for certain concessions from the powers that be.
The program director, Don Young, had a satellite phone for emergency calls. He contacted the production company with the Yorkmen's demands. Shortly before sunset, he returned with their answer.
Something that
The message from the program producers was brief.
said to me that
In 1840, no help would have been provided, and there will be no help now.
that we should just tough it out and get it done over the next 3-4
Yeah,
days.
I think part of it was that people wanted to get some things off their chest, and I think they honestly feel better now, having just voiced their feelings.
The next morning, they are up at dawn. With determination, they work harder than they've ever known and finish the last 500 meters in 12 hours. Jeff Cowie's ancestor, Isaac, crossed this portage in 7 days. He described the courage of the Yorkmen he traveled with as Homeric. 2 centuries later, this group of Yorkmen would also take 7 days.
I think everyone kind of decided to give it a final hurrah and get this thing done so we can get out of here, because we've been bogged down here for about a week. So I think the mood of the group is fairly upbeat as we approach the end of this thing.
It's not Sunday, but it's...
Lots of energy left, you guys. What's all this whining about this portage being hard?
Great relief. Great relief.
It's really, 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 really hard. Yeah.
I'm very happy that the boat is very close to being going into the water.
For Maritz Lunenberg, it had been a particularly humbling week. Upon reflection, he is graceful.
Spirits were down, I'm tired, and I'm going to have to learn to rein that impatience in and just sort of go with it and just be cool with it.
It hit the roller.
Go, Bob, go! Go, Bobby, go!
Yeah, baby!
Bobby's afloat! Bobby! Bobby's in the water! Bobby's in the water! Yeah! Okay.
Crossing the Great Portage is a symbol of hope for the quest. 200 years from their place in time, the 21st century crew can now stand beside their 19th century counterparts as equals. They have earned the right to call themselves Yorkmen and have learned a basic truth of a Yorkman's life. The pain will pass, and the beauty remain. Next week on Quest for the Bay.
It is getting a lot more exhausting, though, I think, now that we're on the river and we're running rapids, which is awesome. It's exhilarating. It's scary as hell, but it's just so much fun. Bob is doing wonderful in the rapids. Paul has been usually at the helm taking us through the rapids, and very, very thrilling. Absolutely love it.
Join us on Quest for the Bay.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.